Okay. I think everybody got the written releases I sent out, hopefully. So that's pretty much the updated information. This incident was on the evening of the 3rd. It was about 11:10 p.m. in Park Township. There was an explosion. It was initially deemed a fireworks accident. It was at a private party, a private residence that were having a gathering, a get-together for the holiday. Investigation has showed that it wasn't so much a firework as it was a device that people were using to launch fireworks or hoping to use to shoot fireworks out of. It was not a commercial firework. And what happened is there was an explosion, and pieces of metal from that explosion were cast into the air and unfortunately struck people that were attending the party, as well as numerous vehicles in the area, trees, houses, and other property. One 41-year-old female from Holland was killed during that explosion when a piece of shrapnel struck her in the chest. That female has been identified as Jana Daniels, 41 years of age. And that's pretty much where we are in the investigation at this point. We're still looking into the cause of the explosion and why that happened, and who provided the device and brought it to the party and that type of thing. So that all remains under investigation. The other victims have been treated and released from the hospital. Some remain in the hospital still, pending surgery and treatment of their injuries. So, any questions where we're at right now? Go ahead, Carla.
Captain, this was some type of homemade device, right, that someone put together. Can you just talk about the dangers of this type of device?
Well, I guess in general, any firework can be dangerous when it's that explosive, and certainly anything that is homemade or that somebody creates themselves doesn't have the standards and the checks and balances in place to make sure that it's safe. Fuses and that type of thing. So I'm by no means any explosives expert, but I can tell you it's dangerous anytime people are in that close proximity to any fireworks display, especially something that may have been homemade.
And can you talk about just how this case is a tragic example of why these types of devices should not be used?
Well, like I say, we're still looking into all that, but obviously it's very tragic. Numerous people were injured in this. One lady lost her life. It could have been much worse. Some of these pieces of shrapnel entered into homes nearby, went through walls, went through windows. It sounds like it was incredibly powerful, and we're fortunate that more people weren't injured more severely.
Could the person who said that this was brought by someone to the party in the release,
Yeah, hold on just a minute here. Yeah, so as far as criminal charges, it's too early to speak to that right now. We're going to have to see how and why the device went off, why it was there, why it went off, who brought it, who lit it, and that's all currently still under investigation right now. So ultimately, someone did lose their life, and it's a serious investigation that will take the time and effort to see if we can get some answers for that family. So as with all of our investigations, at the end of it, we'll turn it over to the Ottawa County Prosecuting Attorney's Office, and they'll review it for any possible charges.
Captain, if this device is not meant to explode,
used to launch a firework or to be a vehicle to launch the firework, I guess is how I'd explain it. And unfortunately, I believe that there was a failure to the device, and that's what led to the explosion. So all that we're still looking into, so I don't have 100% clarity on that, but I'm trying to answer it for you the best I can. So I believe that device failed during the attempted launch, and that's what led to the explosion.
You're talking like a tube, maybe, or something like that, or
yeah, that's what we're looking into. Like I say, we're still processing evidence that we have, and video evidence, and digital evidence, and evidence that was recovered from the scene, and interviewing witnesses for their accounts of what was going on. So all that's taking place right now.
Can you talk about the size of pieces of shrapnel that this thing was pushing out? Were these big pieces? Were these little pieces?
Well, that's a good question, Julie, and it's various, I guess I would say. We have pieces that are as small as a pea and as large as your fist. So very dangerous. It's heavy metal is what was being thrown around, and at great speeds and high velocity, and that's obviously a lot of projectiles became very dangerous.
So the term you used, Captain, shrapnel, that's not normally associated with a typical fireworks display. Can you expound on that?
Yeah, I would just say any debris that was, that is strewn out by an explosion. That's what I would call shrapnel. So in this place, we have metal debris that was cast out by an explosion. So shrapnel is the official term for that. It wasn't intended to be sent out, or it wasn't. I've heard people refer to this as a pipe bomb. Let me answer that. I don't believe this was anything intentionally set. I don't think anybody created this device to try to cause harm or to try to explode. I think it was an accidental explosion that occurred while someone was trying to set off a firework.
Was this the first time this device was being used that night, or had it been used previously?
I don't have that answer for you right now. That's a lot of what we're looking into right now.
I have a question just about her injury. So it's cardiac laceration due to shrapnel. Does that mean that the shrapnel pierced her skin and lacerated her heart? Is that what that means?
Yes, that's accurate. Right. A piece of the shrapnel entered her chest cavity, which is what led to the fatal injury.
Being cooperative in the investigation? People that were there that night?
Yeah, we're working through that right now. So as we speak, I have detectives out that are looking into that and speaking with party goers and trying to get some answers.
Do you have an idea of how many people were there that night?
One more time?
Do you have an idea of how many people were there that night?
Not an exact idea. I've heard combing through some of that information. Obviously, it's incredibly hectic on scene that night. I'll tell you that our road patrol deputies and our paramedics, our units that arrived on scene, did a great job. They're treating, up to 9 or 10 people that were injured. Some of them critically and were bleeding severely. Others went in via private, transportation to hospitals. Others were loaded into ambulances. Others were treated at the scene, and I think that's probably why injuries to those weren't fatal, because there was some serious injuries as well. So a lot of people there. Some people scattered when the explosion went off. Others stuck around. And then, like I said, numerous people injured that were treated there on scene and then loaded into ambulances as well and went in by private. So a very chaotic, hectic scene, a lot of damage around there, and the deputies worked through it very well, and the detectives continue to work on it now.
Do you know the relationship of the decedent to the homeowners, the group there on Main Street?
I'm not going to release that right now. She was an attendee at the party, I'll say.
Was alcohol a factor in any way? I know this was like a failure of a device, but I don't know.
Yeah, we're still looking into that. That's part of the open investigation as well. So I'm not prepared to answer that right now.
Have you ever come across these types of devices before?
No, I think this would be a first. As far as an explosion of this magnitude, certainly there was just one in another area where it was a firework that went into a crowd. We've seen those types of situations before, but I think the main difference with this one is that the explosion, created that debris, that shrapnel, which is what became the projectiles, which made it very, very dangerous, and that's what made this incident different than others in the past. So, tragic situation.
Is it fair to say a firework blew up a device that caused
Well, we're still looking into that. I don't know exactly what blew up the device yet.
Okay.
That's still part of the investigation. So
Okay.
lots of different things that can be termed explosives can be put in devices. So I don't know exactly what that was yet, and it'd be premature for me to say that it was a firework. That was the initial reports. Initial reports is that this was a fireworks accident, and I'm not exactly sure what it was that exploded in this device at this point. So that's what we're trying to work on.
Were people pretty close to where this was being set off, or do you know?
Well, I don't know the exact distances right now. We're still working on that, but I can tell you that the debris field was, houses on both sides of the road and in several houses in each direction. So that tells you the distance that this debris flew, and the people wouldn't have had to be very close to have gotten struck by it because it went such a large debris field. Anybody got anything else? I'll add that we have reached out to the ATF, and they're collaborating with us on this investigation. So if it turns out to be anything that would be more in their purview. They're briefed on the investigation, and they're helping us as well. So.
Have you had any other incidents at this home before, or anything that you know of?
No, not that I know of. No, we're still looking into all that, but this was a standalone event here, as far as I know, that happened on the evening of the 3rd.
Would you say it's fortunate that no one else was killed in this incident? I mean, I obviously there was a death, but so many people. You mentioned 9 others injured. How far the debris field went? I mean, just can you talk about that stuff?
Right, and yeah, like I mentioned, this shrapnel, or these pieces of debris, went into homes. I mean, it was so powerful that it went through walls, it went through windows, and obviously, if people were struck inside their homes as well, there could have been more people injured, in addition to just the people that were out at the parties. So, very powerful blast, and we're fortunate that other people weren't killed. Hopefully, all those who were injured, we're still checking into that right now too. But hopefully, all those people make a full recovery. And we're certainly thinking about the victim's family at this time that did pass away, and trying to get the answers the best we can for her family.
I'm sorry if you answered this already,
Mhm.
but was the woman who died, was she operating the device at the time that it exploded?
I don't believe so. No, she was one of the people in the crowd, or one of the.
Charges being.
It's too early to say. I honestly don't know at this point. Obviously, it's a tragic accident. Whether there was some sort of negligence involved as well, that's not anything I can answer right now. It depends on what we come up with through the investigation.
You guys got any cell phone video or Ring doorbell camera video from around the area?
Right, that's all part of the investigation. Yeah, ongoing investigation to process that and try to view anything that's out there. As always, I would encourage anybody, if anybody has more information, they can contact the Sheriff's Office, they can contact Sound Observer. We've gotten numerous tips already on this incident, and we appreciate that. We'll follow up with those people as time allows, and if anybody does have any video or surveillance video or whatever, that would be helpful. So, anybody got anything else? I think they might be needing this room. So, any other questions?
Call to complain or anything like that prior to this incident, whether it was the amount of people there or they were concerned maybe for safety?
Yeah, I don't think that we received any calls prior to this. The call that we received was because there was the explosion and because people were injured. That's when the call started coming into 911. Before that, everything was progressing, I guess, as a standard 4th of July celebration. Certainly it appears that it was a large gathering, but we had no complaints that I know of at this point prior to the explosion.
All of the injured, as you said this, but no one in houses were injured, but they were all people that were attending the party.
I believe these were all people that were outside that were struck by the shrapnel from the explosion. So although there were pieces that went into homes, I don't think anybody who was struck was inside a home. So, all right. Thank you all. Hopefully that answers everything the best I can. If you have any other questions, feel free to look me up via email or my phone number. My direct extension's there in this. So.